Did Matthew Stafford make the top 5 in the ESPN top 10 quarterback poll? We'll find out right now. All right, guys, I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and today we'll be diving into the ESPN top 10 quarterback poll. We already talked about the positions over on the Downtown Rams podcast, so if you're interested in what has already been put out, the corner and the linebacker, of course, with Jalen Ramsey and Bobby Wagner being mentioned, you can check out the Downtown Rams podcast on my channel. But let's get into this, because this was an interesting list. I don't necessarily hate it, but this is a list, for those of you who don't know, it is behind a paywall, so if you don't have ESPN Plus, there's really no way to read it, but basically the list ranking the top 10 quarterbacks for 2022. So basically, guys, going into this season, executives, coaches, and players make their picks for the best passers. So it's said that there's a bunch of different players and coaches and executives that got together and were polled and asked to basically rank the top 10 of each position. And we've already talked about it, as I mentioned, but now the quarterbacks just came out today. And number 10, I thought, was a little surprising. It is Dak Prescott. Apparently the highest ranking someone had him at was 7. The lowest was outside the top 10. He's 28 years old. I really feel like he kind of lost his step after the injury. I think he's still really good, but Lamar Jackson didn't make this list. Derek Carr didn't make this list. Kyler Murray and Kirk Cousins didn't make this list. So is this more because the Dallas Cowboys are the Dallas Cowboys or what? I don't know. I don't know if I'd have him in my top 10, though, so I didn't really agree with that. Number 9, Deshaun Watson. This I really don't agree with. He didn't even play last year. He may never play football again. Someone had him as high as 4th. And then, of course, the lowest ranking was outside the top 10. He's 26 years old. He's facing 25 civil lawsuits. I feel like that number just keeps going up. At this point, I don't expect him to ever play again, to be honest with you. But football-wise, I think he is a great talent. But I don't see why he's ahead of a guy that's already won the MVP in Lamar Jackson. It's kind of confusing to me. Number 8 was Russell Wilson. Highest rank from him, someone had him as 4th. And at 33 years old, someone actually had him outside the top 10. At this point, I don't know where to rank Russell Wilson. I think I really started to notice some decline last year. And I don't know if that was entirely just because of Seattle or what. But that was definitely interesting. Number 7 comes in. It is Justin Herbert from the LA Chargers. Highest ranking that anybody had was 5 for him. Lowest ranking was outside the top 10. He's 24 years old. I think he's already a phenomenal quarterback. I don't know where I'll rank him. I'll probably make my own top 10 video. But as far as that goes, I don't hate Justin Herbert at 7. Number 6 is Matthew Stafford. Highest ranking he had was 3 from the voters, and the lowest was outside the top 10. Now, to me, if you have this guy outside the top 10, you're not watching Rams football enough to be able to talk about Matthew Stafford. Simply put. He was top 10 in Detroit. All right, let's put it that way. But anyway, Matthew Stafford comes in at 6. I don't love it. I do have issues with it, and I'm going to break this all down right now because the article basically, states everything that I've been saying, 50 touchdowns, over 6,000 yards in 21 games, all that, right? But then they go back to the interceptions, and it's interceptions, tied Trevor Lawrence, the same talking points. Well, here's my issue with that. It's the way that it's worded here in this second to last paragraph. The only real issue with Stafford is he sometimes trusts his arm too much. I don't even agree with that point, but it gets worse in my opinion. Resulting in careless turnovers, he tied Trevor Lawrence for the league and, all that. And his 2 interceptions in the Super Bowl were sloppy. I'm sorry. The 2 interceptions in the Super Bowl. You mean the interception that was thrown up there and Van Jefferson didn't go and get it?
Did it a lot against Kansas City. 8 covering. Stafford says, go deep downfield, and it is picked off in the end zone.
Okay. What about the one where he threw it to Ben Skoranek and Skoranek flipped it up in the air and it got picked off?
Jefferson in motion, off play action, fired over the middle, picked off!
I think Matthew Stafford can believe this one. Off the hands of Skoranek, who also had a chance for a big play.
How sloppy were they? Because I just watched the Super Bowl over again, and Matthew Stafford is better than people give him credit for in that game. He was better than people give him credit for in that game. He's also the only quarterback in the history of the Super Bowl era to not win the Super Bowl MVP throwing 3 touchdowns. I mean, Tom Brady, we always go back to this. Tom Brady won it with 152 yards passing the year they beat the Rams. I think he got half of those yards on the last drive in prevent. Anyway, Stafford is 6. I don't like it. I mean, it's complimentary. You know, there are definitely some good things. It's his 18 completions going for 40 or more yards led the NFL during the season. Second in expected points added, according to NFL Next Gen Stats. Like, Stafford validated the beliefs of many around the league who figure the quarterback needed out of Detroit to maximize his potential. Like, that's great. Here's a quote from an NFL coordinator. That ain't coaching. That's a special player making a special play in regards to his no-look pass. But we move on to the list, and this is where I have an issue. Joe Burrow is 5. Now, I love Joe Burrow. I love young quarterbacks that are developing before our eyes, quarterbacks that we're going to watch for the next 10 years and watch them grow and become the face of the league. Joe Burrow had a shot, but he lost to Matthew Stafford. Was outplayed by Matthew Stafford in the Super Bowl. And Matthew Stafford did not have Jamar Chase. He did not have T. Higgins. He did not have Tyler Boyd. Okay? Joe Mixon. Matthew Stafford lost Tyler Higbee before that game, then lost his second string tight end in Kendall Blanton, so his third string tight end had to take over. He had his running back Cam Akers coming back off an Achilles tear, not being fully ready. He had his other running back, Darrell Henderson, coming off a high ankle sprain. And then on top of that, he loses OBJ to a torn ACL in the middle of the game with no Robert Woods, obviously. It was an injured Van Jefferson who was banged up going into that game. Ben Skoranek, who was a 7th rounder, and Cooper Kupp, who basically was just going to be doubled the whole game. Was, the entire game plan, essentially, for the Bengals to win that Super Bowl was to just not let Kupp have the ball. And it was going to work. And Stafford stepped up, Kupp stepped up, Bryson Hopkins stepped up, and, Darrell Henderson stepped up. But make no mistake about it, Burrow had more to work with and didn't do as well as Matthew Stafford did, having to literally put the team on his back at the end with Cooper Kupp. So I don't agree with this for that reason, but I also don't think Burrow's better than Stafford. Not yet, anyway. I don't get that. I think it's entirely because of the interceptions, and people want this guy to be the next Tom Brady. And again, I love this guy. I love watching him play. I like his demeanor. He seems like a real nice guy and really easy to like. First off, the lowest ranking was outside of the top 10. I don't know how Burrow's not in your top 10, but then again, that's what somebody had. He's 25 years old. Last year, he got an honorable mention on the list. Last year, Stafford, he was 6th. So how is he 6th last year and he remains 6th this year? I don't get that. I do not get that. So Burrow is ahead of him. Someone literally ranked him as 2nd, which I don't know what's going on here. The number 4 is Tom Brady, of course, right? Tom Brady, highest ranking is 1 because people still, for whatever reason, think Tom Brady's the best quarterback in the NFL. This is not all time. This is right now. Tom Brady got outplayed by Matthew Stafford, okay? So I don't understand that. Like, Matthew Stafford outplayed Tom Brady the whole year, essentially. So every time they faced, Stafford outplayed Tom Brady. And Tom Brady didn't throw as many interceptions, but he also didn't win a Super Bowl. He also lost to Matthew Stafford at home in the playoffs and lost to him in LA. Pretty much was a blowout. The game was really 34-17, and Tom Brady got last minute garbage time touchdown to make it look somewhat respectable at 34-24. The love for Tom Brady I get, but this idea that he's still like the best quarterback in the league, anybody that thinks that's ridiculous. The lowest ranking he got is 8. That's probably around where I would put him. This is going into 2022, so I don't see how he's ahead of Stafford. But all right, now we move on. Number 3, Josh Allen, highest ranking 1, lowest ranking 7. I'd probably put him at 1, like I've been saying. I'm very high on Josh Allen. I do think he's the best quarterback in the NFL. His unique blend of size and speed and arm strength, and just the fact that he's gotten better as a decision maker and his clutch factor. I mean, he really is one of the best players in all of football, and I think he is the best quarterback. Number 2 is Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to truly argue against it, because I feel like you're splitting hairs. Like, that's what I'm doing. I'm splitting hairs. I think Allen is the best, but I don't think Allen is astronomically better than, Mahomes or Rodgers, right? But Mahomes came in 2. Rodgers came into number 1, and the lowest he was rated was 5, so clearly someone just had an issue with him as a person, just like the guy that didn't want to vote for him for MVP or the Pro Bowl or whatever. I gotta say, it's not the worst list I've ever seen, but I do have issues with the fact that 2019 NFL MVP Lamar Jackson is left off the top 10 going into 2022. A quarterback that might never play a down in the NFL again and has 25 civil lawsuits is considered a top 10 quarterback going into 2022. The fact that Matthew Stafford apparently didn't move the needle at all. Stayed at 6 like he was last year going into 2022, coming off a Super Bowl win, coming off, like I just mentioned, the only quarterback in NFL history to have over 6,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. And then the fact that Joe Burrow's ahead of him, the fact that Tom Brady is ahead of him, that's really it. I mean, Rodgers, Mahomes, Allen, I think they're kind of in their own, tier. I will say this, though. Whoever rated Josh Allen at 7 needs to explain themselves. Whoever thinks that Patrick Mahomes is 5, I actually think they might be onto something. I don't know if I would rank him that low, but Patrick Mahomes has gotten a little careless with the football.
Some of a chance at a pick in the next play. Montana beat him with a touchdown pass to Taylor. And now they go deep down the field, and it is intercepted on the rebound by Bell.
So I don't hate ranking him lower going into 2022 because you haven't seen him without Tyreek Hill.
Down the middle. It's Hill in the open. Cuts it upfield. He might be gone. He is.
I still think he's fantastic, but it's going to be very interesting because his game against the Bengals, I mean, I really think he just folded at the end. They could have won that game. But, yeah, Rodgers, again, lowest ranking 5. Probably just somebody that has a problem with Aaron Rodgers' views. It has nothing to do with the football. Nobody who watches football thinks Aaron Rodgers is, like, barely in the top 5. I mean, come on. The dude's a back-to-back back-to-back MVP. I mean, like, I don't know. I really don't know what to say. As far as the honorable mentions go, Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's the biggest snub. Derek Carr is kind of a sleeper here. I would not mind putting him in the top 10. Kyler Murray's biggest issue is that he can't play a full season. And what I mean by that is even if he's healthy, he wears down at the end of the year. Look at his game against the Rams to start the season. The first half of the season, Kyler looks like an MVP. And then the second half of the season, he looks like he's getting bullied on the playground. I mean, there's literally sacks you can check out in my Rams, every sack the Rams had in 2021 to 2022 season in a minute, YouTube short. There's a sack where they push Kyler Murray down like they're bullying him on the playground. I mean, it got that bad at the end of the year. It was like bully ball. So, I can understand keeping him out. And then Kirk Cousins, I'll just say this. He had a very good year last year. He slept on because they didn't make the playoffs, so they got rid of the problem. Okay? Mike Zimmer's out. So Kirk Cousins now with Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson going into year 3, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, what they're doing with the offensive line, what they're doing with the defense. Just saying, Kirk will probably be bidding for the top 10 following the end of this season. So, what do you guys think? I thought Matthew Stafford at 6 was too low. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I definitely don't think Brady and Burrow should be ahead of him. 2 guys that he beat to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. But it's not just head-to-head. Like, I think when you look at Matthew Stafford, his issues last year, his issues were the interceptions. But if you watch the games, most of those interceptions weren't really his fault. It was him putting confidence and instilling confidence and believing in his receiver to go and get the ball. So he's giving him his, receiver a shot. Mahomes does it. It gets picked off. Oh, well, that's just Mahomes playing, that deep ball. He'll win that every other. But when Stafford does it, it's Stafford throws too many sloppy interceptions. I'm sorry, he threw a bomb to Deshaun Jackson, who he just stared up and looked at the ball go into the receiver's hands. He threw, an end zone fade, just kind of threw it up there, gave Van Jefferson a shot to go get it. Jesse Bates is the one that went up and got it. Van Jefferson stared at it. But what have I been saying this whole offseason? They've gotten essentially the guy that's going to correct that. You think those jump balls are not coming down when it's being thrown to Allen Robinson instead of Deshaun Jackson? I'm just saying, watch his interceptions go down, watch his touchdowns go up, his yards go up. This is going to be an absolute monster season. That's why I think Stafford, in my opinion, is going to come in the top 3 in quarterbacks this year. You already know my thoughts on that. I have him thrown for over 5,500 yards, 46 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions, according to my projection video, which you can check out on my channel. But that doesn't sound like a 6th overall quarterback to me. That sounds like a top 3. And that's where I think he intends to stay. I think we'll be playing against the number 1 quarterback in the league, Josh Allen, when Super Bowl 57 hits in February. But that's all I got for you guys this time. Hope you guys enjoyed. Again, let me know where you have Matthew Stafford in your list. Does he make your top 10? Does he make your top 5, your top 3? Or is he even number 1 for you? Let me know. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. But that's going to do it for me. Until next time, I'm Jake Ellenbogen. You can like, subscribe, and comment on this video. It really does help me out. And furthermore, if you like me, you can also check out my other videos that will appear right after this scene. We'll go right into my end credits scene or whatever, and you can check out those videos there. That's going to do it for me. You guys take care, and I'll see you soon. Later.